everyone, welcome back to another episode of ReaperCast. We have more cards to talk about coming out in Burst of Destiny, so without further ado, let's just talk about all of these cards because I believe it's going to be a new archetype again that's actually introduced, and that's okay because more sets that come out, you have to expect that there will be new archetypes. It's actually starting to get to the point where things are actually pretty impressive at this point, where even though we have so many different archetypes already existing in the game, the fact that Konami can actually continually come up with new playstyles, new strategies with these new archetypes, they're definitely really amazing. Of course, there is a certain standard that has to be upkept, and if you can't meet that particular criteria or you can't keep up that standard, I could definitely see new archetypes being put to the side, and that is definitely something that is quite disappointing in that sense. I do actually see that quite a lot now with the more recent archetypes. I find myself being less interested in the newer archetypes because their particular playstyles just don't really interest me. Whereas if a new archetype is focusing a bit on older archetypes, or at least old anime style decks that were meant to come out a long time ago, that might actually draw in more attention. So what I mean by this is, say a deck like the Ozarktech, they're actually quite interesting, seeing as they could actually do somewhat of a dark synchro style play, which puts them at somewhat of an interesting level that I might consider building them, though more testing has to actually be done. However, with a lot of the archetypes that came out in Blazing Vortex, it's one of the sets that I've actually been ganging up on a lot because of the fact that a lot of the archetypes that were introduced in that particular set was just not to my taste. It was just not to my liking. I found them a bit more disappointing than a lot of the previous archetypes. A lot of archetypes even after that as well were just so much better, and Blazing Vortex turned out to be quite the disappointing set for certain archetypes that were introduced in there. So, I do find that overall, as the game progresses, it is definitely going to be a challenge to come up with something that's a bit more unique, and as a result, I am fortunately able to be less attached or less interested in actually building any of these newer decks. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to get rid of decks in Project E, but that's another video, another series, so we'll get to that next time. But today I wanted to talk about the new cards here. So this new archetype is called, it's a water archetype. It's not necessarily something with a name. The first card is, meant to be the main card of the actual archetype or support for water itself, and it is called Ice Jade, but I think there's a bit more to it, so let's just talk about what these actually are. So the first card we have here is Acti of the Ice Jade, a level 4 water aqua effect monster with 1000 attack and defense, and the first and second effects of this card's name can only be used once per turn each. First effect, if this card is normal or special summon, you could send one water monster from your hand to the graveyard, draw one card. Not bad at all. It does trigger on the summon, which is not something I kind of like, because if it misses timing, then that's definitely quite unfortunate. But I would like to have that option to be able to activate it whenever I want, so seeing that I'm only allowed to activate it on summon, it's alright. It's not the worst thing, but it doesn't make it amazing either. As for the second effect, if a face-up water monster you control is destroyed by battle card effect and this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, special summon one Ice Jade monster from your hand or graveyard except this card. Alright, so it does actually mention other Ice Jades, but I don't think this is the actual archetype name, though we'll have to find out. I think it's a little bit more different, but I might be wrong on that. So the next card we have here is called Tinola of the Ice Jade. Alright, so it seems like I'm doing a bit of a skim through. They are actually Icejades, so it does seem like they are the actual archetype name. Interesting. Alright, my mistake. So we have here Tinola of the Ice Jade, a level 4 water aqua effect monster with 1000 attack and defense. Again, very interesting. The first and second effects can only be used once per turn each. First effect, you could send one card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one water monster in your graveyard, send this card from the field to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon that target. Not bad at all. Definitely something that is, again, very resourceful, or a really good way of managing your resources from the field or the graveyard. So that's something I like, because that's something that I think water can definitely pull off a lot of these things. It's generic enough that you can actually play it in other water decks, as long as you splash it in as an engine for the Icejades itself. As for the second effect, if a face-up water monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, and this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, special summon one Ice Jade monster from your hand or graveyard except itself. So it does seem to be similar to the previous one as well, which is very nice because at least it maintains consistency in that particular sense, allowing you to recover the cards that you have lost in some sort of way. Definitely very nice. And I'm also going to have to give credit to their artwork as well. Absolutely stunning artwork. I really love it. It's very unique. It captures you, and this is something that I might actually consider just based off the artwork alone to actually building this deck in real life. But the third monster we have here is called Tremolo of the Ice Jade, a level 5 this time water aqua effect monster with 1500 attack and defense. So as you can see, they definitely have very weak attack and defense, so you could kind of already guess that they're mainly supposed to be supporting water decks. So I do see this being mainly an engine that might be able to work for different kinds of decks out there, at least specifically to water, of course. The first and second effects of this card's name can only be used once per turn each. First effect, you could send this card from your hand to the graveyard, special summon one water monster from your hand. That's pretty good, that's not bad at all. Definitely nice, allowing you to trigger off certain water monsters on summon, or just summon out any strong big water beats deck, which I definitely like. I'm thinking about the shark archetype or the shark deck, where there's a lot of actual level 8 sharks that are really just regular cards. They don't really have anything too special, so being able to summon them out easily using this card's effect, very amazing. Second effect, if a face-up water monster you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect and this card is in your graveyard, you could banish this card, special summon one Ice Jade monster from your hand or graveyard except itself. Loving it. This is already starting to look very consistent for what it is, and even though there's only 3 monsters, it is definitely exciting me to the point where I might want to build this. As for the final card, we have here Ice Jade Cradle, a normal spell card. Add from your deck to your hand one Ice Jade monster with a different name from the cards you control or in your graveyard. Very interesting, definitely something that is looking to be really consistent, and I don't know how far you guys could actually interpret this, but when you think about the water, or I guess the ocean in this particular case, there are waves going about all over the place, and seeing that, it's like having you being able to recover your resources and just control the board the way you are. It's as if you're controlling the ocean, it's as if you're controlling the water. So I do like that the theme of this particular archetype is very fitting of the attribute that it actually is as well. Definitely something that I find to be quite an exquisite touch to it. But lastly, I did want to talk about 2 more cards that are also coming out in Burst of Destiny. We have an Ozarktech card, and we also have a Drytron fusion, so definitely 2 very interesting and distinct archetype support coming out in this set, so not bad at all. Let's just take a look and see what they actually do. So the first card we have here is Ozarktron, or Ozarktron, the Celestial Polar Illumina ship, a level 7 water machine fusion effect monster of 2000 attack and 700 defense. This card is always treated as an Ozarktech and Drytron card. Interesting that they actually combined this card. I actually thought it was separate, but alright, I guess we'll find out. Must be special summoned with Ozarktech Drytron. First effect, once per turn, if another effect monster is special summoned to your field, you can add one Ozarktech or one Drytron monster from your deck to your hand. Alright, that's very surprising. I did not actually expect that this would combine two different archetypes. That is definitely very odd. I mean, you could play it in the pure variants, but to play them combined is definitely different because you're looking at Drytrons, a ritual focused archetype, and then you're looking at Ozarktech, a synchro summoning archetype that is also very different, by the way. It focuses on a completely different style of synchro summoning, similar to the dark summoning method. So seeing this here being combined, I like that ironically they both can work towards each other, because think about it like this: the Ozarktech have certain effects that actually lock out you going into link summons or XE summons, but it doesn't necessarily lock out ritual monsters. So seeing that these two definitely have that switch around is very nice. And of course for ritual fodder, a lot of the Ozarktech monsters are also very high level as well. I'm definitely impressed. As for the second effect, once per turn you can target one of your banished Ozarktech or Drytron monsters, add it to your hand. Not bad at all, can't complain about that. Now as for the second card, we have here the Ozarktech Drytron, the card that is pretty much referred to in the previous one. Very interesting card. Now it's a normal spell card and you can only use the second effect once per turn. First effect, banish one Ozarktech Big Dipper and one Drytron Fafnir from your hand and or field, and if you do, special summon one Ozarktron, the Celestial Polar Illumina ship, from your extra deck. Seems like a very unique way of summoning, which is something that I kind of expected if you're actually including the Ozarktech. If you control Ozarktech Polari or Drytron Alpha Thuban, you could banish one of the above cards from your deck instead. Absolutely amazing, really making this quite easy, and I'm loving the synergetic effects that they actually have together with the deck. Second effect, if you attribute a monster to activate an Ozarktech or Drytron monster's effect, you could banish this card from your graveyard instead. Very nice there, pretty much a card that has two effects, killing two birds with one stone. I am definitely quite impressed with this. I did not even expect this. I thought it was two different cards. I didn't think they would even mix up these two archetypes together, but seeing this particular combination is something that I am definitely all for. Tell me what you guys actually think about this, but if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely drop a like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to also hit the bell notification, it really does help. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time.